Over the weekend, we all learned about the fatal attack against Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo, a dear friend to all of us. An ambush that killed not just the long-serving governor, but 8 other individuals, some of whom were civilian constituents who were simply seeking government aid at that time during his 4-piece meeting. This comes as the most recent attack in a string of attacks against incumbent and former government officials, and is the third in just the last month alone. But we cannot afford to be desensitized to incidents like this. We cannot accept these attacks as a normal part of our culture. We cannot let violence like this terrorize our people and force us all to live in fear. In the last few months alone, Mr. President, we have seen the senseless murders of Governor Degamo, Cagayan Vice Mayor Alameda, former Lamitan City Basilan Mayor Rose Furigay, former Lobo Batangas Vice Mayor Romeo Sulit, and former Samar Mayor Miguel Abaygay. Some of their companions and colleagues have also met their deaths in these attacks. Worse yet, and part of my list should be the ambush of Governor Adjong. And let me correct the newspaper accounts. He was not ambushed in Bukidnon. He was ambushed in Wao, Lanao del Sur, but was taken to hospital in Bukidnon for treatment. And of course, the Abra mayor that was killed just this week. And also the mayor from Maguindanao was ambushed as well after attending the League of Municipalities of the Philippines here in Manila. Worse yet, Mr. President, are the deaths of innocent civilians who have nothing at all to do with whatever motivations are behind these assassinations. To target government officials is dastardly, but to involve hapless civilians is downright evil. We can even consider this, and I'm beside the minority floor leader who was a bar top-notcher, we can even consider this ambush to be an act of terrorism. Under Section 4A of Republic Act 11479 or the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, a terrorism is committed by any person. A terrorist act is committed by any person who engaged in acts intended to cause death or serious bodily injury to any person or endanger a person's life. And clearly, lives were lost and other victims suffered serious injuries during this ambush. And the crime committed is intended to intimidate the general public. Clearly, what they did was they wanted to show and sow fear with the people. Was a statement. It was a statement that they wanted to make. And as I said, clearly, it is intended to intimidate the general public and create an atmosphere or spread of message of fear. Atmosphere of fear or spread the message of fear, which qualifies as a crime, as an act of terrorism under our law. Kaya, Ginoong Pangulo, dapat lahat po ng perpetrators na to, ang killers, should be treated as terrorists, including its mastermind, whoever the mastermind may be, should be considered as terrorist and, of course, enemy of the state. By now, many of us have probably seen the CCTV footage of the ambush of Governor Degamo's compound. We saw how the constituents were patiently lined up in their chairs, waiting for the governor to attend to them as beneficiaries of the Pantawid Pamilya Filipino program. Walang kamalay-malay, walang kalaban-laban. Ganyan silang pinatay para mga baboy lang nakakatay, ikakatay at gagawing lechon. Think of those constituents, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear President, and think of their families waiting for them to bring home a little aid that Sunday morning, or that Saturday morning rather, only to be met with devastating news of their death. Nakarumal-dumal na pagkapatay sa kanila. This is not just a matter of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. That assumes that the ambush was inevitable. We must not let these heinous crimes pass as an inevitability. This is how the culture of impunity continues to grow, and this is how spineless murderers shielded by anonymity and hired by gunmen are emboldened to carry out these killings. This is why, Mr. President, we are appealing urgently to the Philippine National Police, our law enforcement agencies, to step up their efforts against these killings. That means arresting the perpetrators behind the Degamo ambush, yes, but it also means preventing similar crimes from happening in the future. Naubos na po ang tiwala ng taong bayan na kaya silang protektahan ng gobyerno. Every incident like this ambush, is a failure of police intelligence, of police visibility, and our peace and security efforts. We have already failed Governor Degamo and his constituents. We cannot keep on failing, not when lives are at stake. So we call on the PNP to live up to their mandate to serve and to protect the Filipino people. Kamay na bakal na po ang kailangan natin, Mr. President. Parang hindi na natatakot itong mga killers na ito, hired man o politically motivated. Kailangan silang matuto na unang-una, pag may ginawa silang krimen, let the full weight and full force of the law be put upon them. And without fear or favor, pagkaganyan ay malaking deterrence na yan in the future na may mangyari sa ating mga kababayan. So once again, Mr. President, I seek the support of our dear colleagues for the passage of this measure. And we also like to remind the PNP and the forces in charge of protecting our people to do double time their work protecting our republic.